What are you doing? Jimin asked you, who looked as shocked as him. I told you already, you shouldn't have fallen for my altars. You open your mouth, but then close it again. You look confused. I'm sorry, Jimin, you said and looked at him with hurt expression. No, Ian didn't do anything wrong. I'm sorry, he apologized to you. I'm sorry if my altars leading you into this. You just stayed silent. Where are we right now? Jimin asked and looked around at the unfamiliar place. I don't know. Jim brought me here. Did he try to prove to you that you are Kia? Jimin asked and you looked at him shocked again. How did you know? I'm just guessing. So mind to tell me what happened when Jim showed up? There's nothing new. As always, he just liked to annoy me by telling me that I'm Kia. You said while avoiding his eyes. Why did he feel like you was hiding something from him? Wyan, you already promised me to not keep secrets regarding about my altars, right? I'm being honest here. There's nothing new. You said. Sunbel, let's go back. You said and walked towards the car. Jimin just sighed when he looked at you. I'm not going to force you to tell me, Wyan. I'll wait until you are ready to tell me whatever you know, he thought. Jimin, where have you been, son? Jimin's mom asked when she saw her son who just came home. Mom, I miss you, he said and hugged his mom. Are you okay, son? We are worried about you. We have been calling you many times. Jungkook and Taehyung also didn't know where have you been. Did your alto show up? His dad asked, confused, like he didn't aware that Jimin's altars had been there since days ago. I'm okay. Don't worry, I'm going to rest first. Once he got into his bedroom, he immediately went to the hidden room. He sat on the chair and started to watch the recording video since the day he disappeared. He saw himself who he was guessing as Jim based on his appearance. Jim came inside the room with a box. Then he went to the hidden room. Jim didn't know what he had been doing at the inside since there was no CCTV there. We fast forward the video. Jim was inside the hidden room for an hour. Then he saw Jim came out from the hidden room and looked up to the camera like he knew Jimin was watching him. Then Jim lied down on the bed while holding a doll. Then he fell asleep. Jimin stopped the video. Then he stood up. He scanned the room and started to look for the box that Jim bought in here. He went to the corner of the room where his altar's belongings were safe inside each of their boxes. Then he saw an unfamiliar box which had his name on it. He opened the lid with Jimin bark on it. He took a look what was in the inside and confused when saw it was paper on old newspapers. He took one of the pages of the newspaper and read the headline. Police offer rewards for information on boy abducted by his father. He read the article and was confused why Jim put the old newspaper inside the box with his name on it. Then he tried to take out another newspaper. The headline: Men suspected of kidnapping children are found dead along with the captives in a fire accident. He started to read the article. The more he read, the more he felt troubled. He read the news until it ended. He started to get headache. His heart accelerated and cold sweat began running from his forehead when suddenly the memories of what he saw before played in his mind like a moving pictures, kept repeating the same face again and again, the face of the man and faces of the children who had been abducted. His hands trembled when he saw the pictures of the kids who got kidnapped, Jay, Changmin, Jimmy, Kia, and himself. The altars. And Kia, I am one of the kid. He read another newspaper and again found out that the kidnapper died in the fire along with Jay, Changmin, Jimmy, and the kidnapper's own son. And one of the kids who tried to save his friend is Jim. Jim. Jimin held his temple, which suddenly felt burst and felt like would explode any soon when he read that two of the kids who got kidnapped were the only one who saved from the incident. It was himself and the other girl kid named is Kia. Ah! He started to yell in pain and held his throbbing head. Suddenly, he reminded all of the painful memories back then. Jimin, his parents came to the room and shocked to see Jimin, who was looking painful on the floor, kept screaming and held his head. His mom hugged him and tried to calm him and could felt how Jimin was trembled in fear in her embrace. His head felt so hurt and he couldn't hold it anymore. His tears burst open like a waterfall. The fear he felt that time was flooding him like it just happened yesterday. He could still feel the sensation, the fear, and the pain. He remembered how the man touched him. Don't touch me, please. Jimin screamed, traumatic. He remembered how the man tortured him just to hear him beg painfully. I'm sorry, please don't hurt me. Jimin said begged. He remembered how he was shaking in fear when he heard the other kids wailing and begging. Stop, please, he mumbled, still in fear. His eyes were closed, looked like he didn't realize the one who was hugging to calm him down was his own mother, who already in tears to see her son being traumatic. Jimin tried to break the hug, but his energy slowly left him. Jimin, it's mom. Mom is here. Everything is okay, his mom said, whispering to calm him down. Don't hurt me, Jimin mumbled softly before he fainted. Jimin's childhood memories were back to traumatize him again. Jimin awoke from coma after unconscious for a week. You didn't meet Jimin since that night where you was kissing Jim and Jimin appeared. Jungkook and Taeyong also tried to avoid you as much as they can. They didn't want to let you know that Jimin didn't come to class because he was sick. Jimin is busy with something. What? They always said every time you ask for Jimin's whereabouts. You stopped asking for Jimin's whereabouts as you finally came to realize the reason must be because Jimin hates you. Ryan, why are you sitting here alone? Are you okay? Jackson asked and came to sit beside you. Since week ago you became so gloomy. Jackson knew there must have something to do with Jimin, but he didn't want to intervene what happened between you both. His best friend Jungkook already told Jackson about Jimin's DID. Jungkook didn't have any choice but to let him know about because Jackson was your cousin and you was someone who have relation with Jimin's DID. He just hoped by telling Jackson about Jimin's DID he could keep you safe and protect you instead of blaming Jimin for everything happened. But Jungkook didn't want to let Jackson know what really happened with Jimin or why Jimin disappeared until now. Jackson tried to understand his reason and Jimin's situation, but since he couldn't hold anymore to see the cheerful you, he knew you became so silent. He decided to ask you what really happened since he knew you was with Jimin or Jim a week ago. I'm okay, Jack. Don't worry. Jackson already expected the answer. He sighed, looking at you. He knew you would never share what's going on inside your mind if you're still not ready to speak. Ryan, Jackson said and patted your back. No matter what your problems are, right now, just think about all the fun we always have. I'm always be there for you. You are not alone. To be honest, I don't have words to make you feel better, but I do have arms to give you a hug, ears to listen, ears to listen to whatever you want to talk about, and a heart that aching to see you smile again. Jackson said, and you leaned your head on Jackson's shoulder. I just feel so stupid to fall for Jim and feel so sorry for Jimin. I don't know what I should do but to blame myself. I'm so stupid, you said, pouting. Hey, you're not stupid. When you're feeling sad, just remember that somewhere in the world, there's a moron pushing a door that said pull. Jackson said, and you chuckled. That's you, Jackson. You said, chuckling as you looked at Jackson. As you remember, Jackson always pushed a door even though the word pull was written as big as his TV at home. Now cheer up, Wyan. Remember Winnie the Pooh wore a crop top without panties and ate his favorite food? You can be like Winnie too, Jackson said to cheer you up. You mean I should eat ice cream without wearing panties? Yeah, no. I mean, love yourself and just be yourself. Ha ha ha. Jackson said, and both of you laughed. At least Jackson succeeded to make you smile and laughed again, even with a stupid lame joke. Whatever, Jack, let this Winnie give you a kiss. You said and leaned towards Jackson and pretended to kiss Jackson's lips, who already making a disgust face because his lips only reserved for his girlfriend Mina. It was in the middle of the night. You were sleeping peacefully, just like any other days. Nothing strange happened. Not until when a thunder came as heaven's drum rolled and lightning started flashed across the sky. Suddenly you started to toss and turn, or your body feeling so much restlessness. Your eyes closed tightly and you was whimpered in your sleep, looked like you was having a nightmare. Kia, your eyes opened wide by the sound of someone's voice, a kid's voice. You already covered in cold sweat, heart pounding with all that adrenaline rush. I'm scared. You heard a voice, but you didn't see anyone in your room. You tried to calm your heartbeat and got down from the bed. Suddenly, boom. It was the sound of the thunder, but this time it was so loud that you almost thought that it was an explosion. I'm scared. You heard the kid's voice again. This time you was sure the voice came from inside the wardrobe. You were taking a small steps and then slowly opened the wardrobe. Your eyes widened when you saw a boy sitting while hugging his knees. You were so shocked to see the boy's condition, his clothes covered with dirt and he had fresh wounds around his legs and arms. The boy looked up and you saw fear in his eyes. You were so confused on how the boy could get inside your room. Kia, I'm scared, the boy said to you. You widened your eyes again when you heard the boy call you Kia. You gulped, being scared. Who are you? How did you came here? I'm Jamin. I'm your brother. You don't remember me? Your eyes widened more when you heard the boy call himself Jamin. You looked at him confused. Jamin? Jimin's altar? But did the boy just say that he is your brother? How is that even possible? You shook your head to show your confusion away. Are you lost? How did you end up here? You asked and approached the boy. You tried to help the boy to get out from the wardrobe, but when you tried to hold the boy's arm, your own hand was going through the boy's arm like one of them had invisible power. You couldn't touch the boy or feel him. You were too frightened to scream but just stared at the boy with your shaking eyes. You took few steps backwards. What are you? You asked, afraid. Kia. What? I'm not Kia, you said with half mad with terror. You're not a coward, Kia. You're a brave girl. Don't let your past haunted you forever. I never had a chance to apologize to you. I am a worst brother ever. You just listened to the boy. He was in panic, but strangely, he was still fine and his breath still steady. You thought that you would have asthma attack or worse panic attack because you could felt how your heart beat like a drum. But you still stood there finely like it was not a problem. You gulped down your saliva. You are Jamin, one of Jimin's altar. You already died because you fall from the cliff. You said if you was not dreaming right now, that means you was talking with a ghost. You remember everything Jim had told you about. It was such tragic stories not to be forgotten. Kia, stop calling me that. I'm not Kia. Kia, stop it. You screamed and covered your ears. Kia, no, I'm not Kia, go away. You screamed even louder than before. You felt a touch around your body and got goosebumps. You tried to break away from the touch, but the grip became more tightened. You wanted to open your eyes, but you was too afraid. Let me go. Ryan, wake up. You open your eyes once you hear the familiar voice. You was drenched in cold sweat, your body trembled and your heart was hammering. It's just a nightmare. Everything is okay, sweetheart. Your mom said and tried to calm you. Breathe, your mom said while helping you to breathe calmly through the inhaler. Once you calmed down, you looked around your bedroom and realized you was just having a nightmare. That felt so real. When you looked at your mom, you immediately hugged her. Mom, you sobbed. Did I have a brother named Jamin? You asked along with your sobbings. You could feel that your mother was gasped in shock and her body tensed. You looked up and saw the panic in your mom's expressions. Mom, Dad, you looked both of your parents who just stayed quiet and looked at each other in shock. Did I have a brother? Ryan, tell me please. You begged to your mom. You are our only child, Ryan. Your dad said. Dad, please, I know you two are hiding something from me. Ryan, are you okay? Your mom asked you when you just stared blankly ahead. She held the inhaler tightly like she was afraid if you got asthma attack again. When she told you how you have your memories lost. Your parents had told you the same thing that Jim had told you. You got kidnapped and have memory loss not because of car accident but because of the fire accident. But why you didn't get shocked or remember anything? Usually people who lost their memories who lost their memories would get panic attack or had a glimpses of memories about their traumatic event. But why it was different for you? I'm really Kia. And who's the other kid who was saved from the accident? It was Jimin. Jimin, I'm not really sure. I forgot his name already. It was such a long time, but he's not the kid around our neighbors, so I'm not very familiar with his family. Your mom said. You are our only child, Ryan. We adopted Jamin before you born. You are still not remember anything? Your dad asked you confused. The reason why we hide the incident because we were afraid that you might got traumatized again. All with the kidnapping things and what you have been gone through. But look at me now. I'm okay, mom, dad. But I still didn't remember anything. I have no memories about what you have told me about. You said and let out a sigh. Jim, what should I do right now? You want me to remember that I'm Kia, but I still couldn't. You thought, Mom, Dad, why you never tell me that I have a brother? You asked and both of your parents looked at each other before they let out a sigh. Because we were afraid that you will blame yourself, your dad said. Me? Why? Jamin died on the day you got kidnapped. Police assumed that his death was an accident. Before he died, he called me and told that he felt sorry for not being able to protect you. Your dad explained. So that's why we didn't tell you anything. It was best for you to forget everything and start a new life. But we never forgot about him. your mom said, and your tears that you had been holding finally rolled down. The reason why you need to travel outside Korea for all these years to celebrate your wedding anniversary, it was all a lie, right? You asked. You thought your parents will always be the happiest couple. They always celebrate their wedding anniversary by traveling over years. And you thought you was being a good girl to not interrupt them and let them enjoy their time. But you was wrong. They were not actually traveled but went back to their countryside for Jamin's death day. Their wedding anniversary was also the day Jamin died, and they were hiding their pain with a smile for all this time. After class, you went back to your countryside, the small village where Jim and you went before. It was already dark when you arrived at the village. You had asked your parents about Jim. Your parents were shocked. How did you remember only about your brother and your childhood best friend, but had no memories about the kidnapping and your childhood memories? You couldn't explain about the altars and they tried to understand your reasons. They never forced you if you was not ready to tell. Your parents gave you an address with hope that you could remember at least your childhood best friend who always be there for you. They couldn't came with you because they had work to do, but they do promise to you that they would come together in other free days. You arrived at your destination for traveling almost forgot 3 hours. You kept waiting outside. You tried to ring the bell but no one showed up. The light was on but looked like there was no people inside the house. You kept waiting and waiting until midnight and you decided to go back and came again tomorrow after finishing classes. You came back here after being traveled for like 3 hours. You rang the bell again but looked like there was no one inside the house because you had been rang it for ninth times. You thought you should wait again, so you kept waiting until you saw someone pass nearby and hoped that someone was the person who lived inside the house. But after an hour of waiting there was still no one. You are hungry and tired of waiting. You almost dozed off and you didn't realize that someone was there, stood beside you. When you felt the presence, you looked up to see the unknown person. I know you will come someday, Kia.